Hello, and welcome to the Random Podcast, the podcast where we talk about random and dumb things. I'm Tyson.
And I'm Travis.
And I finally got my dad on the podcast, so we're going to talk about him today.
That could be scary.
It could be. All right, Dad. So tell us about yourself. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about yourself?
I'm getting older.
What's the number one thing that makes you feel like you're getting older?
Well, things hurt more. Aches and pains come a lot quicker. They don't go away as fast.
Yeah. I would also like to mention the glasses that you're wearing right now.
Oh, yes. I'm also going blind.
Yeah.
It's getting hard to see. I had to get glasses this year.
Yeah. You're probably forgetting that you're wearing them right now.
I kind of did until you said something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really notice them anymore.
Yeah, I pretty much wear them all the time now. Can't hardly see without them.
So, what is your current occupation?
I'm a deputy sheriff with the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office in Lincoln, Nebraska.
So what do you do?
I am a deputy, and currently I'm assigned to patrol, and I basically take calls for service in the county on the days I work.
Okay. And you have, other assignments too, right? Don't you work on the roads and courts?
Currently I'm assigned to patrol. I have been assigned to courts in the past, but over this summer I'm going to be working on the road in patrol.
Do you have a favorite?
Being on patrol is probably a little bit more exciting because you don't know what kind of call you're going to get. And so it's a lot of troubleshooting on the road, where courts is pretty much the same thing every day, but there's very little stress in courts, which is kind of nice because you just sit in the courtrooms, make sure that people are behaving. You transport prisoners, occasionally take people into custody if the judge has ordered them for something or if they have a warrant. So we'll occasionally take people into custody, but you work with the same group of guys every day, and it's Monday through Friday type of job, and it's pretty just stress-free. That's one nice thing about it. But being on patrol can be kind of stressful.
And your other job, you're a farmer, correct?
Well, not according to my wife, but yes, I think I'm a farmer.
I would say that too.
Yeah, thank you.
So you had horses?
Used to have horses.
And then, yeah, we had the dogs at the same time too.
Which dogs?
I don't know. Tell us about your dogs.
Well, prior to getting married and having kids, I used to train and compete with pointing breed dogs. So I had Vizslas and short hairs, and I would do American Kennel Club or AKC hunt tests and field trials with those dogs, and that was pretty fun. But after getting married and having kids, it was kind of expensive and time consuming. I sold the dogs and I kept the horses for a while because the field trialing requires horses. So I kept the horses for a while, and then it got kind of expensive to keep them because we didn't have access to much hay, so we had to buy it a lot at that time. And they were eating a lot of hay, and the kids were pretty little. So we switched to raising goats, and so that the kids could show goats, get into 4-H, go to fairs, that kind of thing. And so we did that for 3-4 years, maybe 5 at the most.
Yeah.
And we quit doing the fair stuff. Really wasn't for us. We got some cattle, and we still have a few of those. We raised hogs for 6 or 7 years, I think. Feeder hogs, just a few, just to sell to family and friends. And then we're kind of slowing down on goats, maybe going back to horses. We'll see.
Maybe.
That's a maybe. Big maybe.
Do you remember the name of your first dog?
Which one? Like the first dog when I was a kid?
Yeah, when you were a kid.
Yeah, Midge.
Midge? Why did you name him Midge?
Short for midget. She was the runt. She was a really nice dog.
Yeah, and then the horses we had Pedro, Lady, what was the other one?
Brownie was the first horse I owned, and then when Loma's dad died, I took his horse. Can't remember what the name of that horse was, but it only lived a couple years, and then it had to be put down. So I just he was a geriatric horse, so we just kept him.
What does that mean?
Geriatric horse means they're pretty old. So horses only live to be maybe 25. They can live to be 30, but you really shouldn't ride them after they hit 25 to 30. And so you're just letting them live out the rest of their life on a pasture, just eating, having a pretty restful life. And so we took him kind of the last 2 years of his life after Marvin passed away.
Did you have a favorite horse?
Pedro was probably my favorite horse. He was a pretty good horse. Very personable. Some horses don't want anything to do with people, and he loved people. He would always come up to you, he'd come to the fence. He just was always interested in knowing what was going on. He was a pretty good horse to ride. He was really tall. He was probably close to 16 hands tall. So it was a long ways down if you fell off. Because when I first got him, he bucked me off a couple times. and it was a long ways down. But I worked with him and got him trained up. Yeah, he never caused me any problems after that.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. Now before we get back to the episode, I want to quickly tell you about our sponsors W Energy and First Form. You'll find information and websites in the description below. Now if you go to w.gg and type our code Random Podcast in at the checkout, that'll give you 10% off your purchase. And with First Form, all you gotta do is click the link in the description below. Thank you guys, this really helps us out a lot. Now, let's go back to the episode. And so we have 20 acres, which is really nice to have animals on. How long have you had this property?
I think I bought it in 1999. Yeah, a little over 25 years, I guess.
Yeah, so you had a house that you brought over, right?
Yeah, so I bought the land in 99, and then I found a house that was going to get torn down for demolition. The house itself was fine, but the basement wasn't in good shape. And so they were going to tear this house down. And so the lady didn't want to fix it up. She built a new house right next to it and then was going to demolish it. So through some connections, I got hooked up with her. And so I was able to buy the house, pick it up off the foundation. Well, I hired a company to do that. And then they moved it out here onto a foundation that I built out here and then proceeded to renovate that house. And it took me about 2 years to renovate that old house.
And then when did you start building the animal pen part?
After I moved in 2003, early 2003. And I think that's when I bought my first horse Brownie. And so I started building a barn and some fencing. All that fencing's gone now because it wasn't the greatest, but it worked at the time for what I was trying to do. And then I've added on over the years.
Lots of renovations with that fence.
Yes, yeah. But it's taken a lot of abuse from animals over the years.
What's your favorite animal to have on the farm?
Well, it depends. I like to have animals that have a purpose. So I like having a dog that is going to do something. So when I had hunting dogs, I hunted a lot, and so it served a purpose. I don't do that anymore, but I do have a dog for protection. We have Charlie, the German Shepherd, although he's not overly protective. And then we have Hank, who guards the livestock from predators. So dogs would be one, but I did enjoy the horses quite a bit. I very much like riding horses and training horses. Not that I'm a professional trainer by any means, but I enjoy being able to work with them and make them better and improve them. And I was usually able to do that.
What has living on a farm and building a lot of what you work with kind of taught you over the years?
I learned a lot. So when I moved out here, I really didn't know much about how to carpentry or plumbing or electrical or any of those things. And so by moving the house out here, it forced me to learn how to do that. And it took a while, and there was a lot of roadblocks with how to do it, but I didn't have an option because I had time, because I was single back then. I had time and very little money. And so I would find people who knew how to do it and get them to teach me how to do it. So my dad knew a fair amount about carpentry. And then I had a friend who knew some about plumbing. So he showed me how to do plumbing. And then my uncle was an electrician, so he showed me all the electrical side of things. And so that's how I was able to kind of build the house pretty cheap, because I could do all the work myself if I could have friends come out and show me how to do it.
You could change your job as a deputy. What would work best for your farming gig?
You mean if I quit being a deputy?
Yeah.
Well, if money wasn't an issue and I could just go work somewhere, I would like to work for a farmer. Not having all the stress of owning equipment, owning land, depending on the weather. That's kind of what I always wanted to do, was be a farmer. But then after having friends and learning all the challenges that go along with that, if I can let them do that and I just go work for them and I get to drive the fun machinery and help out on the farm and do things, I think that would be ideal for me, because then I don't have any of the stress that they have and all the expense that they have.
State.
I think Missouri. Because there's a lot of hills, pastures, creeks, and land's fairly cheap out there. So there's a lot to do in Missouri. Because I don't think I'd want to get too far from Nebraska. But going out to Missouri, depending on where you're at, like in the Ozark type areas, kind of where I would think, it's wooded. I like wooded areas. I wouldn't mind having like a small cabinish house in a barn with maybe some horses and dogs and go riding some trails or, go fishing. They have nice lakes down there to go fishing, take a boat, go fishing, or trailer the horses and go ride them at certain places. And so I think I would say Missouri would probably be where I would go, but I don't think your mother will.
Yeah, I'd agree. Missouri's a really nice place.
It gets hot in the summer, but Nebraska does too.
Well, I'd say that wraps it up.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I should have you on another time someday in the future.
Okay, I'm available.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is Tyson and my dad signing out.